We'll see if this works
5,
at all.
3, 2, 1.
I was a bit torn on what trinket to use, but I'm going
And
to use this
now
2-minute
you learn
super
the
burst
true
CD.
lesson of the void.
So you can see all the casts down here in order. If you pull these guys too fast, they end up getting pulled with that group over there, which you don't want. So you want to follow into the group, a little pre-Dark Pact, right? And then you just do the most damage in the world. Since you have your cooldowns up, there's no reason not to send them. You just want to pad, maybe a little stun to help your team out so that you can live long enough to pad. If you get chosen, just pop a defensive and stand underneath. Hope your team is good enough to break you out. Certain classes can like visit and feign death and all that stuff, but my job is to try and be impressive. So while they're fighting this pack, you can run over here. You've done your part, right? You've afflicted them, and you just drop your gate through the wall somewhere. So you skip the big AoE guys, but everybody in this first room is all the same kind of enemy, right? So the harvesters do damage. They need to be kicked. And the cleavers just mess the tank up. You can stun them. You'll see they get this buff, which makes them heal when they melee the tank, but the tanks just stand there. So it's not your fault, but you can technically just help them out by stunning them. You can stun a cast as well at the same time. Get the buff and the cast. You could fear them so they don't heal. The tanks will just stand there and let them heal. They don't know. They don't know how to do it. It's only an 8, right? That's pretty much the entire first section. And I want to make sure that I have all my CDs for the boss, even though it's trash week. Just want to keep my CDs for the boss. So you'll do like a light blasting, like a 1-minute blasting on these guys. And when they reach 40%, they do their AoE, so you want to hopefully just focus one down. You can't really control your group, but you can control what you do. So you just try and focus one down. And he'll do his thrashing, and then you want to just Dark Pack the thrashing. So everybody's dying, and I'm full health because I hit Dark Pack early. I didn't hit it late, I hit it early. Now on this one that's going off, I can just coil. I can wait till I'm low and then cookie to full. So I've done 10 million healing to myself right there. The healer hasn't touched me because you're like super powerful Warlock guy. So that's kind of your goal. That's what you're thinking. When you're going into these packs, you Dark Pack early, and then you heal yourself later. I still had potions I could have used. I would have had unending if I didn't get chosen by the first thing. So everybody in this first room is all the same type of enemy. It's either a caster, a tank buster, or the AoE guy. And this gets a little weird because either you send like Soul Rod or your 1 minutes and they're not back up for the boss, or you end up fighting this guy for so long, more than a minute, that you would have had your cooldowns back. So it's kind of weird. I like sending like 30 seconds and just holding. I would rather we suffer a little bit than to just miss the damage window entirely, because you need to two-face this guy on the hierarchies and up, or you just won't live, right? So you can drop a little gate, you get feared, pre-dark pack, going back. This guy phases at 20%, so you'll see he's getting close. So we probably just want to start loading up on this other guy. And then we do the most damage in the world to this tree. Now that he's down, we got Lust rolling. We save every cooldown in the game. We're just doing... See my cast down there? We're just doing the most damage we possibly can. So the damage looks really low because I was like holding in the beginning. But if you look at the actual damage to the boss on that fight, 132 for me, 150 for that guy, and then 80 for the other guy. So you just want to one phase it. You end up saving time if you do more damage to that boss. If you get it lower than the tree, you can kill him before the next phase. That's also helpful. But if you burn the tree down instantly and you have nothing for that guy, you could end up fighting him for 2 or 3 extra minutes. So you just got to be careful with that. Now we're done with everything in the first section. Now this is the second section, which has a different set of enemies, right? The defenders will charge you and drop this Misty Cloud, which does like 1,000,000 damage if you stand in it. Oh, I got too scared. Let me see. Let me stand in it. There's one tick. Oh my god, I did half my health. And it also reduces the damage they take. So you just want to stand close so you don't get knocked too far. You can set up a circle. You don't need it, but if they knock you, you can port back to your circle, right? That's cool. Um, so that's the defender. So there's a knocky guy, and then there's a little fox. He doesn't really do anything. I mean, he puts a bleed on you, but that's more for the healer. So now we got knockbacks and bleeds. Now we just do the most damage we can to pad. Instead of trying to do like the perfect rotation, I just hit Soul Rot, Corruption, Vile Taint, and Spam Rapture, and it just looks like I'm doing well. I don't think Cookie and Coil potions, I don't think any of that counts towards the Healing Absorb this week, so I wouldn't even worry about using that personally. I would go for something. I would go for something like just waiting. I don't even know if you can aim cleanse it, honestly. You can, but then you can't kick. It's like a whole thing. So I have big juice here, so I just want to maybe load up one dot on one guy before I go off. Make sure the pack lives long enough for me to be able to send. The new enemy in this pack is the moth, right? The last one was the fox. Now it's a moth, the stinger. The moth will jump to you, and it'll put a dispel on you. And if the healer doesn't dispel it, you die. And it's not your fault. It's the healer's fault. But you will die. Think our healer just stood in the mist ward. 2 ticks, took 1 second. He got 100 owed in 1 second just standing in it. So just maybe don't stand in it, right? And then now we don't really have juice, so we have time. We want to watch the Tender. That's the new enemy here. So there's a leapy guy putting a debuff on people, and there's a Tender. The Tender's cast, if that goes off, they heal and you wipe, right? So our goal is to make sure that he doesn't get his cast out. We can do whatever we need to. Stun him, kick him, slow his cast, ping him, mortal coil him. It's just something that you should do because you can't trust anybody else. Like that team kicked it for us. That was really nice. That means we're free to do damage. But they're slowly trickling all the combinations of the guys we've seen so far into slowly trickling all the guys we've seen in this section into different combinations, right? So there may be a fox and a kick and a butterfly all in one pack with the tanks thing in there. The mini bosses aren't really a big deal. Just don't stand in front of them. Nothing really to worry about. They do stuff, but it's like 2 or 3 different ones, and they're more for tanks than for anybody else, right? This is another weird thing. Oh god, I might be dead. No life. This is another weird thing where you want to stand close. It's harder to run away from the frontal if you're further away. Setting up your portal is also really good too. But if you do a bunch of damage, then you're not going to have your cooldowns back. Right? This guy lived about 30 seconds and fortified. Um, but if you don't do any damage, like I'm not doing any damage right now, then he lives almost like a minute. I could have used my cooldown. So it's just a weird situation where you just have to decide where you want to do the most damage. I've decided that I'm going to blast this pack. This is my pack. So I'm just going to send some juice out. Look at all these guys. Maybe stun them early so I can guarantee to get all my dots out. And then I'm just doing the most damage in the world. I do not care. Shaper needs to be kicked. I should have got that. I missed it. Now I got to watch the... There should be a... No, there's not one. Just the Shaper. Nice. Easy pack. So next pack I think we'll have a Shaper and one of the other guys that you kick, the Nourisher. I don't know what it's called. Or we got lucky, we went to boss. Nice. So there is an instance where both of them will cast, and it's very scary. It's why I usually will mark one skull and say you guys kick skull, and I'll watch the other guy. But it is possible for you to kind of solo them, where you like fear one, stun the other,
Stay
kick
away
one,
from
stun the
lines.
other. Or actually hard cast fear on them, right? You can hard cast fear. Um, the damage here I think is more important on the clones. So I usually like to fear this guy and then hit him with a slow. So you
Stay
see he
away
has the
from
slow
lines.
debuff, the Curse of Exhaustion slow. So he's feared and slowed. So and then the Druid rooted him too. That's very nice of him. And now we're going into here. It's definitely Flower. And we're just going to do the most damage to Flower, preemptive Dark Pact. And we just want to get out of this phase as fast as possible. It's going to do
Stay
increasing
away from
damage the
lines.
longer we're in the phase. So we just want to get out as soon as possible, so we only lost about 20% of our health. That was really cool. So even though we're not doing a lot of damage, we're doing really well with the clone. We're helping the group out. And that is like half the battle.
Stay away from
Obviously, you can
lines.
not do all the support stuff, and you can just do the most damage in the world. So what I think I'm going to do is help blast this clone, and then in 20 seconds I'll have
Stay
my,
away
my
from
big damage
lines.
trinket, and I'll send it on the boss to try and get through the phase.
Stay away from lines.
Fear into a slow. That guy's taken care of. I took too long
Stay
to
away from
blast the
lines.
boss. Preemptive Dark Pact. So we know we're going to enter one more flower phase here. There it is. And then I'd probably just send on this. Was it Leaf? Yeah, I'll just send on the Leaf. Why not? Do some damage, have some fun.
Stay away from lines.
So you can stun that if it's too close to you. I used Shadow Fury there, and then you can fear it into the slow. You have tons of time to do all that stuff. And since I hit Dark Pact, got 4 million healing of Dark Pact. I was safe throughout that whole thing without worrying about my health. So I had Cookie, Coil, Potion left over if I really needed it. And you can hit Drain Life as a last resort. I almost never do, but you can. It's not awful. You can take the talent that it heals you for more somewhere. Drain Life. There you go. You can soul burn a drain life for a little bit more. You can take this talent where it does a little bit more. There's like a drain life heals you over time a little bit more. So you can try and get some juice from drain life if you so choose. But just doesn't do any damage. And even with the soul rot AoE
AOE
drain life, it's
incoming.
just not good. So now you're in the final section,
Range
and
5.
we just deal with basically these two type of bugs. The acid gullet, which just does AoE but can be stunned. You can stop some of the puddles and stuff they do. And then the staghorn, which needs to be interrupted but
Range
cannot be
5.
stunned. So this guy, he can't be mortal coiled, he can't be anything. He can only be interrupted.
AOE
And if he
incoming.
gets one of his casts off, you usually die. Um, the casts either shield everybody or they um, just regenerate the whole pack. So like right here, if he does a double, we just want to watch Skull and pat on Skull. If I was a little better, I would have saved CDs just for this pull. So my plan is just to dot everything up as best I can, watch this guy for the kicks, maybe put a slow cast on him for the team, and then now I've done my part. I'm just doing the most damage in the world.
AOE incoming.
There's no reason not to pre-defensive these. I hit Dark Pact earlier. I have like ready to cookie.
Range 5.
See that we got those kicks, and now the pack is just falling apart. It feels really good. I know that I have this circle on me, so I want to stay away, but be ready to like hit Cookie or anything if I take damage from like a puddle. I just hit Cookie while I'm running out, especially while you have that circle on you. Just want to think of your options. Like probably gonna pre-Dark Pact this next pull. Just go ahead and hit that. So now I have some juice, but I don't have soul rot, so I'm just gonna wait, and maybe he'll do a double next, and I'll do the most damage in the world to the next pull.
Range 5.
We're just watching the Staghorn. I'm out with my circle, and then I know
AoE
as soon as he
incoming.
kicks, maybe coil and kick that to stay alive. I might need a potion. You can see Drain Life doing nothing. It's there though. Oh shit.
Range 5.
So I know I have no defensive left, and I have the circle, so if anything happens, I might just potion to live long enough for the healer to heal me, right? If it was a little higher, like a 10, I might be more inclined to potion more actively, because the damage feels spiky, you know? But as of right now, this is looking good. He's going to grab this. I'm going to do way too much damage to a pack that just is going to die
Range
instantly.
5.
Pre-Dark Pact. Then I've done my part. Now I'm just doing damage. I've given up on them. It's their turn. But you're just ready to move when these guys come out. These little gullets or gorgers or whatever, they summon the circles, so you're just ready to move. Either out with your circle or out of the circle on the ground, and then you just watch the one guy you're supposed to kick, who is not a part of that pack. He's only in the first pack, and that second pack right there is the Staghorn. I'll get percent after boss, but it looks like just doing the bosses, we're chilling. People usually
Watch
lust
your
when you have no
step.
cooldowns. That's just the life of the Warlock.
Kill ads.
I like to try and stay as close to my thing as I can, um, my my puddle, so that I know, can try and remember the order that they came out. Um, just a random Dark Pact, right? No reason not to Dark Pact at full health. And you know, with this fight, at 70%, he's going to run to the middle and do his AoE.
Watch your
The
step.
more damage you do, the faster you get out of this phase. So if you preemptive Dark Pact, you can now just blast, and you know that you're going to want to coil if you're low, or cookie if you're low, just to get out of that
Watch your
phase,
step.
right? Cookie is such an awesome 1 minute cooldown for you. We
Kill
should use
ads.
that all the time. Basically every other pack you
Watch your
either
step.
cookie or dark coil, or you could, right? So we pushed him to 40. I'm gonna resolve because I'm trusting. And that's the last AoE of the phase. Now it's just
Watch your
circles,
step.
right? So these circles move every direction you've moved previously. So I just try and keep them clustered so that if I have to run away, I don't end up running like out of my mind trying to predict where they're gonna go and I have no idea. Or B, I end up killing myself because I ran so far one time. So I don't know if you're paying attention, but back and back to the left look really good for me. But I don't know where this guy's right here. I don't know
Watch
where
your
his
step.
puddles are going. So mine are good. His could have been anywhere, right? If he was the guy who's just sprinting, he could have sniped us with his puddle. Nothing you can do about that. All you can do is control your own puddles. So that's what we do. That's our goal. So here's a pack with a guy. We'll watch out for the next kick. I put a little curse on him,
AoE
and now I'm just gonna
incoming.
do damage until we get percent. I got the kick, and that's it. I've done my part. Maybe stun these guys. They look like they came in at a weird time. So the cookie doesn't work. It seems like maybe the coil
AoE
does work in
incoming.
terms of healing for... I'm unsure. Actually unsure if that worked or not. But I know cookie doesn't, so... Don't waste your cookies on the affix. It's no point. Spy Masters, damn. Easy. +2 key. I would, I got
AoE
a
incoming.
buff from the druid. I got a buff from the mage. So I would say like, oh, 1.3 overall, it's not bad. I would maybe try the dungeon again at 8 with a different group, knowing it's not going to be exactly the same, but I might just feel better with a different combination of trinkets, right? I might just want to use the sack brood instead of this weird living flame thing I have. Um, but yeah, just let me know what you think of that.